Hello everyone and welcome to episode 92 of the TEW 2020 New Japan Pro Wrestling series here on the channels. It is the Dominion Tour. What a major show we have lined up here as far as we try to make this the second biggest show of the year. I think we're going to do it, even though we've had a bit of a rocky 2015, 2025, Jesus Christ, as it's been an interesting couple of months here. You know, as far as we've had new champions that have tried to fill those shoes of some of the guys we had during kind of the prime years of the save. It's not really going our way, which is kind of funny because, again, we started off 2025 with a great Wrestle Kingdom, and it's just kind of been downhill ever since. It's been pretty funny to see, kind of, in hindsight, compared to some of the other saves where, especially like the UJPW one, where it's like we've built the roster up to a point where it's such a force, and with the New Japan series, all of our guys that were dominating kind of the beginning of the save are now getting older, and they're not really performing at the high level that we should be seeing from those guys, and as far as it's really just been, it's taken a toll on a lot of the talent, for sure. But I will say this, I think this Dominion, it's going to be a big one, just for the sense of what that main event's in store for, you know, with Bryan Danielson and Sonata for the heavyweight title, as that should be a banger. Hopefully Bryan is kind of on his A game, and hopefully Sonata's on his A game as well, so we can have a pretty good main event. As we'll go through the rest of the card here while we're talking about it. But yeah, co-main event, Hiromu Takahashi versus Walter. Good opportunity. This is the best thing on the card. Really think that's going to be a banger. Again, stylistically, two completely polar opposite people. Walter using his size, his power to really dominate guys, and has been on an incredible run during his IC title run. And for Hiromu, he is not only tasked with trying to stop Walter, but he's got his record on the line as well. So this is a big matchup there in the co-main event. Eddie Kingston and Zack Sabre Jr. right before the co-main event for the U.S. title. This is Kingston kind of fighting for America in that matchup against Zack Sabre Jr. Zack's done it all in this save. He's won the G1, the New Japan Cup. He's won heavyweight title, the Intercontinental title, now the U.S. champion. The only thing he hasn't done, I don't think he's been a tag champ. Actually, he might have been. I think him and Walter had a tag run there for a little bit. So he's basically, done it all. And he's been just killing it with United Empire. And I think this is a great opportunity for him to have a great match with Kingston there. And now for the Never Openweight and New Japan Strong Openweight title match here for Brody Lee and Shinsuke Nakamura, champion versus champion. That's a big-time matchup there. I love that match on paper. As far as Nakamura, I think, could have a great match with Brody. And I think, as far as vice versa as well, as obviously Brody, big dude like that can move. With somebody like Nakamura, that's pretty big himself. I think that's going to be a good match. That should be a fun one. The Junior Heavyweight title matchup, the winner of the Best Super Juniors, Kyle O'Reilly, take it off Fuminori Abe. Of course, they had their match during their block, because they're in the same block, and it was a draw. So we're going to see what happens with a 60-minute time limit between those two men. Never Openweight 6-man tag team title matchup, the House of Black, which will be Tyler Black, Malachi Black, and Rob Eagles. Thought about using El Kukui there, but I think we're going to give a slight edge to Robbie Eagles off performance-wise, so hence why he's getting that matchup against Blastoff, which is, of course, Kota Ibushi, Konosuke Takeshita, and Tetsuya Endo. That's a fun 6-man matchup, to be honest. That's crazy. That's the only multi-man matchup on the entire card. The rest are singles matches, and of course, are triple threat, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But Tanahashi and Cena, the rematch from the New Beginning show, and it's basically built as a potential final matchup between those two men. Maybe unless Cena wins here, we might do a trilogy, but really at this point, this is going to be built as like potential kind of last time we'll see both these men in the same ring against each other. But the IWGP Women's title matchup, Hana Kimura from Stardom, Rio from AEW, and Siletta from CMLL, which is Silhouette in Spanish. So how about that? Siletta is actually really good. I had her have a match on Strong, the previous taping here, before we started recording. She had like a 72, which is pretty good for a Strong taping. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, because Hana Kimura, she gets around a 70 for her major events. Rio's a little bit lighter than everybody else's, but we'll see. We'll see. It definitely might be different once the actual match comes. And the opener, Kazuchika Okada versus Claudio Castagnoli, two of the best in the world, battling it out for bragging rights more than anything, but also maybe a little momentum building going into the G1, as the one of two non-title matches on this entire card. I like the card though. I think it's for where we're at right now. I think we're kind of playing to our strengths. I know Zach's gonna have a great performance. I know Hiromu and Volter are gonna have a great performance. Sonata should have a good one as well. Nakamura with Brody, and I think O'Reilly and Abe with their great chemistry, that should help them out a lot. And really, one match I'm kind of nervous about is Tanahashi and Cena, which is just kind of funny off of those names. But Cena in the save is just it's pretty abysmal. He's it could definitely. I don't think he's going to be wrestling in 2025, so I guess that makes sense. But also, boy, it's sad to see. Sad to see it. But that's the way she goes. As of course, we just have the one Road to show, which we're all pre-booked, ready to go. Let's run it, see how it goes. Because we'll probably be running Osaka here for the Dominion show, probably running the Osaka Dome. It's Chris Charlton's Rafa vs. Court, accused of lying about stuff all the time, bumming everyone else out, being a Debbie Downer. As the judge, Shinsuke Nakamura found him guilty and sentenced him to shut up or cheer up and buy drinks after the show. And then Tomohiro Ishii's probably passing on microphone work to his protege Tomoya Tom Ford. As for the main event here, it's probably going to be the 6-man of Dragon's Den and the Designers of Perfection, as it's going to be obviously Danielson, Tamura, and Kyle O'Reilly, which we'll probably actually have to change to show, because O'Reilly's already going to be booked, so we'll have show in there, and then they're taking on Sonata, Taichi, and Burberry Baba. This is just to have Burberry Baba lose more than anything, but yeah, it should be a nice little main event there. We could go with this as the main, as far as because we know it's going to be a good matchup, but it's Task Force Death of Kingston and Moxley against Zack Sabre Jr. and the Great O'Khan. So the previous Strong taping, we had Moxley take on Great O'Khan, just to kind of have a nice singles match for Moxley, because obviously he's someone that's performed really well since we brought him back, and just felt like he could use like a big match. He beat the Great O'Khan, and Kingston's going to beat the Great O'Khan there. In the co-mains, we have Dark Order, New Japan Strong, or Dark Order versus Kingdom Strong Style, rather, Jesus, as Will Hobbs going to beat Alex Shelley. Bit of a mismatch there with a junior team and heavyweight team. But as far as I like that kind of matchup from the mixed match approach of it. And obviously Shelley is not going to be able to overcome the size of Tankman and Hobbs. We'll go O'Reilly and Garcia against Blastoff. That actually might be the second match class matchup. It is. So Garcia's going to beat Jason Lee, though. That's a big win for them. Malachi Black, El Kukui against the dynamic duo tandem, as El Kukui's going to lose to Kurosuke Takeshita. That should be a good match, though, all things considered. And then the actual opener will be Cena and Carl Fredericks, as Cena's going to beat Carl Fredericks. It's kind of a fun, it's a great opportunity for Carl Fredericks to get in there with somebody like Cena to really learn from. We'll see how the match does itself, but I'm hoping it will be pretty solid. Yeah, just the one match got changed up a little bit. Yeah, I was gonna run Kansas, but maybe we should run somewhere else. Now I'm thinking about it, but yeah, I guess we're kind of all booked up elsewhere, except for, yeah, we'll probably run here, I guess. Yeah, we'll run this venue. Perfect. Alright, so yeah, this is just a little building to Dominion, nothing too crazy. Obviously, with a lot of the card, I think that main event's not going to deliver because of Baba and Show, but it should be fine, though, nonetheless. This is probably going to be the best thing on the card. Oh, this might actually be, though, too. That's got some solid guys in there. But yeah, we'll see what we get here. So, 60 for the opener. Cena with the prototype of peace at 936. Fuck yeah. As Cena gets the win over Carl Fredericks. Oh yeah, that's a good little rating for Cena. I think that's kind of what his going to be bread and butter is going to be at this point in his career. Can't go like 20, 30 minutes anymore. Like 10 to 12 is kind of his range now. 72 though for O'Reilly and Garcia against Blastoff. It's kind of mutilation from Garcia over Jason Lee. Yeah, that was an upset, but O'Reilly and Abe doing exactly the same with 69, so that's a good sign for them. Should be dead even when they have their matchup. 77 for Malachi Black and El Kukui against Tetsuya Endo and Konosuke Takeshita. Yeah, El Kukui was off his game though, so, but it's still, he was the worst guy in the match with a javelin kick from Konosuke Takeshita over El Kukui in 10 minutes. The 76 from the Dark Order, Kingdom Strong Style 6-man matchup. as our Brody Lee, worst guy in the matchup. Kind of shocking. But yeah, Shelley losing to the Order of Business. It's a good match, though. Out of the stuff, Dark Order still pulling off some good ratings. 77 for Kingston and Moxley against Zack Sabre Jr. in the Great Khan. Kingston with the sliding D over the Great Khan. Yeah, worst guy in the match. There from Kingston, that sucks. But, I mean, Moxley and Zack Sabre Jr. with some good ratings there. And our main event, yeah, 72. Figuto, yeah, even Tai Chi, he was really off his game, so that hurt the match too. But Danielson beating Burberry Baba. Doesn't say with what, but I'm assuming it will be with a Busaiku knee, if I had to guess. Danielson level 65, 71 for Sonata. Tough break. Tough break for Bryan Danielson. But all around a pretty solid tour show. Can't really ask for anything more at this rate from those guys. Yep. As, the Dynamic Duo Tandem matchup was the same rating as that co-main event. So that's kind of cool. Didn't expect that, but we'll take it. Yeah, now on to the Dominion show. I know it's going to be a bit of a short episode, but we'll kind of talk in depth of what's going to happen with the G1 after we run Dominion, so it will fill up a little bit of time with that as well. But obviously, we'll take a look and see kind of the match history, what's going on with a lot of those matches as well, because, you know, some of those are rematches, some of them are first-time meetings, and some of them, you know, the guys haven't wrestled against each other in a long time, like Sonata and Danielson. So I think they had a G1 match. Pretty sure they did. But other than that, I don't think they've really faced off against each other. So, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So yeah, on to Dominion we go. Alright, Dominion. We're in the Osaka Dome for this show. I mean, this is going to be huge. Huge, huge, huge. Alright, so backstage it says Kushida. See what he's doing. Great atmosphere rather backstage, and pulled a great rip on the entire locker room, that everyone laughing afterwards. Ishii passing on microphone work to Tomoya Tom Ford, and then Nagata passing on psychology to the Great Khan. Alrighty. So yeah, this should be fun to see. As far as main event, Danielson, Sonata, we have a new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And Bryan Danielson, he's done it. He's completed his path, beating Sonata, and hopefully that's a banger of a main event. That's all we can hope for with that one. Hiromu and Walter. Walter does in fact keep the streak going, as that will now make it 7 successful defenses. He's now tied Hiromu, so he's got a chance to break it with the next one, but he might just tie it right there with Hiromu, and that would be it. But obviously he's got the G1 now to go through, so he'll have the belt for a little bit longer as well. So just all around a major, major victory for that man. As for the, right before the co-main, Eddie Kingston, Zack Sabre Jr. for the U.S. title. Zack Sabre Jr. wins it in 28 minutes. Great win there for Zack Sabre Jr., though. Actually, we kind of went through a lot of these a little too fast. Let's take a look at Danielson. Yeah, they did have a G1 match. It was a 95 when we did it 2 years ago. Don't think it's going to be this good of a matchup now, sadly, because Bryan's just not the same Bryan. Roman and Walter, they've never had a matchup, so that might be, as far as we might have a bad chemistry thing there, but I'm excited to see how that match plays out, though. And then Kingston and Zack Sabre Jr. have to have had a match. Singles matchup. No. Another first-time singles matchup. Which I love that matchup from just a stylistic point of view. Two completely different styles. You know, Zack with the technical stuff, being able to put you in a hold, and as far as get the win that way. Whereas Kingston, he can beat the fuck out of you. It does a lot of the 90s All Japan kind of power spots as well. It can even knock you out the back fist too. So it's just it's a fun dynamic between those two as far as what they can do stylistically. That's why I wanted that match to be here instead of doing as far as Moxley and like Zack Sabre Jr. instead, which would be a better matchup. But sometimes you want to put on a better story sometimes, and just I think having an opportunity for Kingston to kind of save America is kind of a cool idea as well. But Nakamura will become the undisputed openweight champion here of New Japan, as far as he's going to beat Brody in 25 minutes. Another first-time meeting, which it's crazy how many first-time meetings we've had on this show, because obviously we're so many now years into the save, and we're still pulling off fresh matches, which is at least a positive from us, even though it's maybe not going to be at the same level of shows that we've previously had. It still should be a pretty good showing. And O'Reilly will be beating Fuminori Abe, so this is a big night for Dragon's Den to get not only the junior heavyweight title, but obviously the heavyweight title. as O'Reilly gets his first ever reign as a junior heavyweight champion as well. I just think all around that's a great idea. House of Black blast off the never open six-man tag team title matchup, which Blast Off will retain. Should be a banger though. It's first time meeting. Bushi's going to beat Eagles, which is I think that's the right call. He's probably going to be the worst guy in the match. Actually, Malachi Black might be the worst guy now that I think about it, but still should be a fun matchup there. And then Tanahashi and Cena. John Cena beats Hiroshi Tanahashi in 20 minutes. Yeah, I think with these two, I had the new beginning in the U.S., which Tanahashi won. Now we have Cena winning here in Dominion. We'll definitely have a third one. We'll have the trilogy match, and that'll probably be it for Cena's run here. But it's been fun to book him. Obviously, it's not the same Cena that if we would have signed him right at the beginning of the save, but it's still been a fun. I mean, it's cool to be able to do these dream matches like this between those two guys and actually make a story out of it too. In a way now with the trilogy and having Cena cost Tanahashi the belt or the never open weight title as well. So it's been a fun little story along the way too, where it was kind of built as a one match where Cena wanted this opportunity because he's always seen that guy as being the kind of the same as him, but just from the other side of the world, and to kind of prove that he's the best of the two. And obviously Tanahashi won the first encounter, and that kind of flipped the switch with Cena, and it turned into now him being a part of the Dark Order and all that jazz. But the women's title matchup is Hana Kimura will be beating Rio. So the idea here, it's elimination style rules. I feel really bad I'm only giving these girls 12 minutes, but we might actually change that. Let's do that. Let's change it. Let's give them more time. Give them 24 minutes. But the idea here is around the 16-18 minute mark, Rio's going to beat Saletta for the first elimination. And it's going to obviously come down to Kimura and Rio, and Hana Kimura is going to get the win and become the new women's champion, which we have to borrow the belt as well. Thank you. Good call. Oh, wrong way. There we go. So yeah, we're going to have a new women's champion there, so that should be fun. Let's change this to a Steal the Show match now. Which I think is going to be better anyways. To kind of have Cena maybe, Tanahashi goes for the high fly flow, Cena catches him, rolls through, hits a regular attitude adjustment, rolls through it, kind of like what he did with Styles, when he kind of rolled through on his back. Does it again for a second time, then picks him up for the fucking, the Peacemaker, as far as, that's gonna be a pretty epic kind of finishing sequence, but also to really put over that he's not losing this match type of thing. He is not taking any chances with Tanahashi. He is busting out all the big time stuff, Big Match John, type of thing, doing his shit with that one. He's gonna struggle stamina wise, but I still think it's gonna be a pretty good showing. And then for the opener, Claudio Okada. Okada will beat him in 20 minutes. I think that's the right call again, to have Okada beat him. And the big thing with this, though, is afterwards, Suzuki is kind of signaling for the back. There's someone, just kind of bringing it, just kind of having a come hither motion from the back. And it's Shotaro Shino. The returning Shotaro Shino. He is a part of Suzuki-gun. He lays out Okada, and he helps Claudio to the back. So with that, with a new member of Suzuki-gun and Shotaro Shino, I think it's going to really give them a lot of, that's really going to help them out a lot, I think. And really from that perspective, to have, we'll have Suzuki, I guess acting? Yeah, selling. Actually, and not entertainment. Vocal star quality. Oh. Shino is in Suzuki-gun. Perfect. Yeah, 4 minutes. So we like to stray away from angles during the show, but that one's fine by me. And then, obviously just a fucking full-on straight stretch of singles matches there after the House of Black Blast-Off matchup. All title matches, too. Yeah, we're giving them a lot of great Great shit, though, hopefully, with that one. I thought about giving them a little bit more time in Danielson and Sonata, but I felt like 34 is a good cap for it, and we might give them a little bit more time. Give them 29 there, and then we'll give them 31. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Alright, so, post-show stuff. First one will be, obviously, Dragon's Den, with, as far as the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Bryan Danielson, and talking about how he's worked for this for over 20 years. He's, as far as he's had to retire, he's thought that, sitting in the hospital thinking this is it after his injury here in the save, and just to feel that he did it, that he's won, that he's had this goal, and he talks about the names that he's, kind of seen hold this belt, and to add that, his name to that list it's a big deal for him. Big deal for him. Now, what's going to be interesting is what's going to happen with Bryan afterwards, because this is his last hurrah. With this win, we're kind of going to do the thing that with Edge in 2011, when he retired the first time, when he beat Del Rio, and then he retired the next night. The idea here is after the match, it's going to get some tests, and it's going to be like, wow, this is it, as far as he's starting to, as far as maybe his, he feels like his neck is going numb, he feels like his hands are going numb from all the damage that his neck has taken over the years, and basically, he's just like, at this rate, I've done it all now. I think it's time to hang it up on my terms, though. So he can kind of see that the writing's on the wall, but it's not like a doctor's telling him, you have to retire type of thing. It's more of the warning signs are there. He, maybe talks about, one day he got out of bed, tried to pick up the title, and he couldn't even pick it up, with his one hand, or, as far as that type of stuff, where you can tell that now the body's failed him. After the years of wars, the years of sacrifice, even for that man that he's done. He's traveled all over the world, but his body on the line, night in and night out, and it's finally caught up to him, and it's going to be a big deal to have him vacate the title going to the G1. So the idea now with that is that press conference is going to be probably we'd probably do that on the first strong taping of July. So obviously the first week of July, or maybe the last week of June, depending on when exactly the G1's going to start. Because usually we started I want to say we started the first Saturday of July. Hopefully that's the case. We might have to switch the kind of schedule around to make that work. So really with this is kind of Bryan's swan song without him really knowing it's a swan song, if that makes any sense at all. I know it's kind of weird to kind of put it like that, but just a reflective, Bryan Danielson, when you've seen what this man has done throughout the years, and talking about winning the big one in New Orleans, you go from talking about all the times he's wrestled, obviously, with the finishing a match with a torn right against Takeshi Morishima, to winning a Ring of Honor title, to even starting off with Michaels in Texas, just as far as that journey all the way through to get to this point where he first showed up in New Japan in the early 2000s. So it's a bright-eyed, wide-eyed, young lion, or not that young lion, but young guy Jin with Danielson. And just seeing the guys of the 90s and 2000s still being a part of the company, with Scott Norton and Chono, and, as far as those guys, as far as that were part of the roster at that time, obviously. And I think it's a great story. I think it's a great story about somebody that has always wanted that match and has always wanted that belt, and he finally does it. You can't really go wrong with that type of story. And also kind of puts over Tamura as well, as far as like seeing what Tamura did when he was on the shelf, motivated him to get back stronger, better, and ever, which is fortunate, because that kind of all that training and all that, trying to get back at the top shape, it ended up costing him in the end. But it's just also the severity of his injury. I mean, he had like a semi-severed spinal column, something like that. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. As far as, where's the Yeah, injury here. Yeah, a lower thoracic spinal cord rupture. I mean, yeah, that's that's bad. that's real bad. Yeah, that could have been the end of him. And for Danielson to now retire, I think it's a great sign. I think it's a great sign for him to do it, not only here when he is still obviously healthy enough to where he can do it on his own terms, but I think for the most part, looking at where Dragon's Den's at, this is like the peak, for Bryan as the champ, O'Reilly's the junior champ. And also now this kind of sets up for what's going to be left of Dragon's Den too. Does Tamura, does he keep the Dragon's Den name? Does he go his own route and rename it? There's a lot of different things we can do with it going forward. But yeah, I think that's a great press conference for them. They have United Empire won. Obviously, a successful defense from both Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. As Walter and Zack just kind of bragging more than anything. But Zack really putting it to Kingston, as far as, I don't know who was tuning in to think that some fat, pudgy New Yorker was going to beat me, even though, he could give a shit less about the U.S. itself. But this championship, when the bell rings, he doesn't want to get beaten by anybody, especially not someone of the caliber of Kingston, as far as just from an athlete perspective. Zack just kind of views him below that, which is, obviously you don't want to. It's kind of weird doing that when you've just beaten somebody, because obviously you don't want to belittle somebody on your roster. But as a heel, I think you can get away with it. In Zack's case, I think you definitely can, because obviously he's just a fucking world beater in this save right now. And I think you can get away with it. And for Walter, the sky's the limit. As far as he's just like, listen, I'm not just going to be the Intercontinental Champion. I'm going to win this G1. I'm going to become the Heavyweight Champion as well. As, he's just as Bryan Danielson, you better be ready type of thing. And the same thing for Zack. Both guys eyeing, Bryan Danielson. The target's on him, which little do they know. Obviously he's going to retire, but that kind of build up to it is obvious. I mean, it's the G1 season, basically. Right after this show ends, it starts the build to the G1. And as far as that's kind of more so than anything, we'll have a couple more. We'll have one with Suzuki-gun. Just saying, with Suzuki, he wanted the best Japanese talent as far as the best technical wrestler in Japan to be a part of Suzuki-gun, and he feels like he's done that with bringing in Ashino to the fold. And as far as this is kind of just those two mainly talking. It's not really Claudio or anybody. As far as Claudio's just kind of more so, as far as he just kind of says in passing, he's going to get, he's not done with Okada, but, as far as with, Hook and Yehai, they kind of take him to the back, where the press conference is really with Suzuki and Ashino, where they talk about, as far as the plans for Shitoro Ashino and how he's, ready for this G1. More than anything for him, he wants to win it again, and he wants to be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion again. And he wants to bring that title to Suzuki-gun as well. So that's kind of the big thing with that. We'll have one. Let's have one with Nakamura. Why not? First ever, IWGP Women's Champion. As far as the first ever Women's Championship matchup. Oh, we fucked all that up. There we go. And, it puts over Stardom more than anything. Puts over just as far as, she's excited to see what the G1 brings, but she'll be focused, obviously, on what she's doing in Stardom. And kind of telling everyone, like, hey, check out Stardom. As far as, probably at this point in 2025, I would like to think that they just, as far as with Stardom and obviously anything with Bushido, Bushido Road, you would assume that they would just kind of unify have the streaming service be like everything that's under that brand, but that's definitely will be the thing here, especially in this save, because, as far as, that's the plan at least, because we have CMLL, obviously, and so it's just kind of funny to do it from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, that's, so some big bombshells dropping for sure with, we see the new champion, but little do we know that it's the last time we'll be seeing him as a champion. And last time we'll see him as an in-ring competitor, too. I just think it's the perfect time. Perfect time for him. He's, this is the storybook ending. That he gets to end it off, IWGP Heavyweight Champion, off to the sunset he goes. Because I really don't think he can make it through a G1. I really don't think he can. His body's pretty broken down. It's not looking good. I know I don't think he'd be able to do it. I really don't think. He's one injury away from death at this rate. And it's better to... I don't want anyone dying in the ring. Mainly for my sanity more than anything. But yeah, we'll make sure we run the Osaka Dome. 55,000 on hand for this one. But yeah, we're going to have a couple of new champions. Not a whole lot of title changes, really. Mainly just Danielson and O'Reilly, and obviously Nakamura becoming the undisputed openweight champion. But yeah, I think we're good to go. Let's run it. See what we get. It's 84 for the opener. That's not bad at all. Okada with the Haju Bomb over Claudio Castagnoli. Great win here. A great opening matchup. Like it. Like it a lot. Yep, the angle itself doesn't really do too well, but Ashino, part of Suzuki-gun, I think that's the right call, as far as... We kind of teased it a little bit that Suzuki had made a call that, he's going to bring in, one of the finest Japanese talents to Suzuki-gun, and he is, in fact, succeeded in that challenge by bringing in, or in that threat, rather, with bringing in Satoru Ashino. Yeah, so this was kind of ass backwards a little bit, but I figured she was going to be pretty good, and she was. Saletta was the best woman in the matchup. 62s from both Rio and Hana Kimura. But a 75, though, for the first ever IWGP Women's title matchup. Not bad at all. Not bad at all from the girls. Can't go wrong with that one. 71s for Cena and Tanahashi. Yep, Tanahashi definitely was better than him. But, yeah, STF from Cena. As far as that probably would not be the finish. It'd probably be, like I talked about, the ultra finish of just hitting three... You hitting the 2 attitude adjustments and then the fucking Peacemaker move on top of it. And as far as, that's a fun match, though, to run this back like that. Have it be a different type of matchup, too, with it going like 12 minutes. I like it. I like it a lot. 85 for the Neverboy 6-man tag team title matchup, their second defense. As the Phoenix Splash from Ibushi over Robbie Eagles. Yeah, just the, Blast-Off team just keeps on rolling. Yeah, Malachi Black, worst guy in the match. No surprise. No surprise. Another 85 is Abe and O'Reilly. We probably could have had Abe get the win here, but I just felt like this was O'Reilly's time. He's never been a junior heavyweight champion. Felt like this could be a great chance to do it. Him and Abe have like good chemistry, and they just have a banger of a matchup. I would love to maybe do a trilogy matchup with these two men, as far as maybe having a rematch at the finals, or maybe even doing one a little bit later on in the year. I just feel like that's a good call, because they just, obviously, they work out so well together. Nakamura with the Busaiku, or not the Busaiku knee, the Bumaye, rather, from Nakamura, with his now third defense of the Neverweight title, and also winning the New Japan Strong Openweight title. The plan is either at the finals, or even on a strong taping, Nakamura, Cena, with the New Japan Strong Openweight title. I think that should be fun to see. So 88 for Eddie Kingston and Zack Sabre Jr. as Zack with the Sabre Driver, rather, in 29 minutes, making his first defense of the U.S. title, beating Eddie Kingston. It's a good run for Zack here, just, still being one of the best in the world, and having a great match with Kingston there. Fucking 97 from Hiromu and Volter, the Burning Lariat from Volter getting the win in his 7th defense. What a banger. Yeah, lack of psychology. I could kind of see that with that matchup. That's crazy they got a 97, though, even with the lack of psychology. Let's see what the main event gets us. 85. We'll take it. But yeah, Bryan Danielson wins the heavyweight title. 31-48. Big win. Becomes the heavyweight champion, but of course, it's one song, sadly enough for him. The 65 from the post-show press conferences with Dragon's Den. 68 for the United Empire post-show press conference. Another 68 here. So yeah, we're going to add Ashino to Suzuki-gun. Oof, Kimura's promo, which is weird, because she was a great promo. I always thought she was entertaining enough. But yeah, 93. So I'm glad we got back into the 90s. I'm glad that Akome, saved the show. My God, nothing was even close to it. They killed it. Those guys, put on a great matchup. Volter and Hiromu nailed it. And, going to give a hug to Bryan. He's done it. He has done it. 25 years of sacrifice. All comes down to winning it all in the Osaka Dome in front of 55,000 on dance. So, with the G1 having a now vacated heavyweight champion going into it, we're also going to crown the heavyweight champion in the G1, because what we're going to do, we're going to have another 4 blocks of 10. I mean, as far as 4 blocks, 10 guys in each one. The winners of each block, it's not going to be block A versus block B, and then the winner of block C and D face off in the finals. No, it's going to be all 4 winners will compete in one match. It's a 4-way matchup, elimination style rules. The last man standing is the heavyweight champion and the G1 winner, all in one swoop. So the idea was to make this as tough as a challenge for anybody, and it really puts over the fact that it does not matter. It puts more not only into who is in whose block, but also puts into more of a fact of which guy is going to be the guy to go on to the finals. As far as you just got to win your block. That's the focus. That's the strategy. You make it out of the block. You make it to the final matchup. And I'm excited to see how that plays out, though. Because there's going to be no time limit, that 4-way. And we're going to give it a lot of fucking time. A lot of time. But yeah, 93 for the show. Let's see how Money in the Bank did. Hey, we outperformed Money in the Bank. Orton and Gargano. Sasha and Ronda. Roman and Elias. Papa Ali and Austin Theory. Cesar Boney. What in the world? Oof. Yeah, that's, if only Velveteen Dream, if only the Velveteen Dream wasn't a piece of shit, rather. The Nexus of the Void. Oof, probably should have kept that one in the creative meeting. Keith Lee, though, was the 24/7 champion. That's a big motherfucker to be having the 24/7 champion. For sure. So, yeah. A bit of some bombshell stuff with this one. So, yeah, we'll immediately now... we won't vacate it just yet. We'll probably vacate it when we have the airing of the... I don't know if we'll do a press conference. I don't know exactly what we'll do. We might have... It might be Harold and Danielson talking about it on Strong. We might have it be aired on the pre-show the first day. Who knows? But yeah, a short run for Sonata. Really, the idea with that was we haven't had somebody have 0 defenses, at all during the entire save as the heavyweight champion. Because usually we try to make sure our heavyweight champions are booked pretty strong, but I think this is a good time to change that up a little bit, because rarely have we had multiple champions throughout a calendar year. Already in 2025, we have had 4 different champions. Of course, we started off the year with Zack, then Tamura, then Sonata, and now Danielson. And we're going to have a 5th one come the G1 Climax Final. So, it's, you can definitely tell that the wheels are spinning a little bit with the heavyweight title. We're dropping the prestige of it by day. That's not good. The Intercontinental title's probably about to surpass it. Yep, that really is. Junior titles at 73. Junior tag titles at 60. The tag team titles at 69. US titles at 75. 66 for the Never Weight titles, 71 for the 6-man titles. Yeah, at least the King of Pro Wrestling and the G1 still a 99. 97. Yeah, so that's not good from a heavyweight title perspective, but hopefully we can get it back on the right track. So it's crazy. I think we've had the past 4 have been first-time winners, though, so that's been nice. And yeah, this is now in the G1 season, but also every man, those 40 men that are going to be in this G1 are eyeing this heavyweight title and wanting to win it all. It's going to be big. It's going to be the biggest G1 just from that perspective, that if you win it all, you win not only the belt, but you obviously win the G1 as well. It's going to be interesting because with that, obviously becoming the winner of the G1, there's not going to be a briefcase. The idea is we're going to have a briefcase for the King of Pro Wrestling. Is maybe the idea that I'm kind of toying with. To at least have a briefcase, because that at least was a unique idea in the aspect of that. Oh, we might give the briefcase a break this year, since we could probably use a break with it. But it's just such a great way of building up challengers and whatnot. And plus, last year we had it where 3 different people had the briefcase at the end of the year. we were going crazy with it. But yeah, all around, I think this is a great place for us. Even though right now we might be slipping, I think this is kind of the perfect time to send major people into a major spot. You know, I think there's going to be some great matches throughout this G1. I think this is going to bring us back to where we were before, you know, around the January to March time of 2025. After the New Japan Cup, we kind of had some, you know, not so great shows, but luckily we get a good one here with Dominion. But yeah, like obviously the finals sucked. The rest of Nutakus weren't that bad, but nothing in the 90s. Sakura Genesis into 83 is a bit of a flop, but the New Japan Cup was a 91 at least, and obviously Anniversary Show was an 88, and the New Beginning Show was an 83. So not great around. Fantastic Mania was a 93 though, and then yeah, and they're obviously Wrestle Kingdom with the 19 with Tamura and Zack Sabre Jr. and Falter again having a great match in that one as well. But yeah, I mean there's going to be 40 men battling it out to become the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So this should be a G1 to remember, that is for sure. As we'll catch you guys next time. Take care, everyone.